where I'm at, I'ma fight like I'm mad, I'ma be something that they can never be me. Nice try, but they'll see I achieve everything while they stay salty.
All right. Well, I know, I get it, right? What in the heck does jury selection have to do with fishing? Am I reaching? Sort of, but I think about this a lot. I really do. And I think you'll understand here with me, okay? So bear with me on this, because I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, because I think y'all will understand. I think y'all will be able to relate to what I'm about to say. So, it's literally today. I just got done with jury selection, okay? Luckily, and I say luckily, but luckily, there was like 4 cases. They all got either dismissed, and something happened with one of the lawyers with an emergency appendectomy or something. I can't even remember. Anyways, they all got thrown out. We got sent home. And I was like, thank goodness. And the reason I say thank goodness is this. There's a part of me that somewhat wants to be on a jury, in the sense of, I think it's my right. And to be honest with you, man, there's this pretty important decisions being made for like people's lives and things. Man, to be honest with you, I don't want some like idiot up there, right, making decisions that are going to affect us to a degree. And if I was on something happening to me, like, I would want someone like pretty reasonable, pretty smart, sensible on that jury as well. I don't want, I just face it, I don't want some of these people. I see how some of these people like think. They scare the heck out of me, right? So with that being said, I do, right? I don't mind, like, I would want to be on there for that part of it. Here's the part I'm going to talk to you about, is the fishing part. So this is Monday after the Bassmaster Open, right, that we just had on Rayburn. And Hallman just qualified for the elites. Now, why is that important? Why is it important that he just qualified, and we're talking about jury selection? Well, in that jury selection stuff, the last time I was on it was a couple years ago. It was a big ordeal, it was a big case, and I was pretty much about to get picked. And the long story short, I raised my hand and talked to him a little bit, and pretty much I blew up the whole thing. Like, they eventually sent me out, and then I found out later that the whole thing got blown up, and they all settled because of what I had to say in there. It was a long story, but what scared me was this was going to be a fairly long trial. And I was going, man, I've got this pretty big tournament popping up, and not just a normal tournament, right? Like something that really matters. And that's what I'm saying. Over the years, most people, and this is where I want y'all to go with me on this, most people don't really understand this fishing deal, right? So all you fishermen out there that really love to fish, like, most people don't really love the love affair we have with fishing, right? But like how much we love it, that we have set aside so many things in our lives to make fishing work. Now, as I get older, I really compartmentalize what I set aside, right? Like, I try to put my family most of the time first. When I say most of the time, like, I always take them into an account of what I'm doing. So I'm just not just out there going, well, I don't really care what y'all are doing, I'm gonna go do this. Like, I've always done that, okay? Now, I've had a lot of friends and people over the years, like, maybe get married, or when we were younger, well, not many of my friends are getting married now, but when we were younger, they're like, you're not going to be at this wedding, this is the most important day of my life, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, I paid for this tournament for like $1,800, and I'm getting by on almost nothing. And without this tournament, I can't just throw away $1,800. Plus, man, what if I make 10 grand in this thing? I mean, I only have so many chances to make money, or, man, I don't fish again. Like, this is my whole job, and it's just been part of my life. Like, that's what I've had to sacrifice over the years, because I miss a lot of things, right? And that was my decision. I get it. A lot of people don't understand that, and I understand that they don't understand that, but still, it can take a strain. And so I'm sitting in there and I'm going, man, what if, this is the stuff that goes through my head, what if Hallman had jury duty, and he's trying to explain to them, like, no, listen, I've been working at this elite deal for 3 years now. I have put aside time with his family, travel, lost money, all these things to make the elites, which is this might be his only chance to do it, in the sense of he might have other chances, but he might not ever be this close again, right? Where he was coming into Rayburn, 3 chances out of like 225, right? That's not many. And then all of a sudden, like, you've got a chance, and you're right there. You're right there on the brink, and you've got 1 tournament left on Rayburn. And they're like, you got jury, and you're trying to explain to them, like, hey, look, I'll do it another time, but I just can't be this time. Like I put everything into this. Nope, sorry. It's just fishing, right? How many people tell you, like, man, it's just fishing? But it's not to him. It wasn't to me. It's not to a lot of y'all guys. Like, y'all understand what that's like. And I know fun fishing and professional fishing is a little bit different. And I'm not even saying this is professional fishing, but I mean, that one last tournament on Rayburn, I don't even think y'all, even when I was fishing on day 2, I was sitting here going, man, I hope he's not having a day like me, because everything came down to day 2. Everything, like 3 years came down to 1 day of fishing for him. But before that tournament started, everything came down to just that 1 tournament. And what if someone was like, nope, you got to miss that, man? You know, like jury selection. Man, I just think about stuff like that. And I think about, like, how much, like, I know people around the country don't really understand it, right? Hey, how come you're not going to be at this event? How come you're not going to be at my wedding? How come you're not going to, it's just a weekend. Like, you can stop fishing for the weekend. Come on, man. Like, I know a lot of people think that way, and I understand that. But for us, guys, it's like, it's nothing. And there's other times where it's like, yeah, I'll be there. Like, I can be there at so many other events, right, that don't conflict. But there are certain things. Like, I got the championship at Guntersville for the Toyota Championship. I leave Friday. It's popping up, and I mean, I had to work for that. I had to qualify for that. I started that a year ago, and man, that's going to be probably the biggest tournament of the year for me in terms of, like, money wise. And if someone was like, yeah, man, like, you can't do this just for me, and I'm like, hey, I don't think you understand. I put a lot of work in to trying to get there, and it'd be hard to explain that to a lot of people, right? Especially hard to explain that to the freaking municipal court system. Like, they don't care. They don't care about none of that. They're like, hey, man, we gotta get you as a maybe for this, you know, whatever case. It always, I'm not saying I have an answer for any of this, and I'm not saying I don't understand. And a lot of people might even look at this and go, hey, man, this is like, you got to put some things in priority. I'm like, man, I think I do put a lot of things in priority. Like I said, if there was a way to be like, hey, let me get through this one weekend, and man, you can pick me for the next 2 months. I don't care. It's just funny, right? It just makes me think this is just one instance in everything, but this goes on. This goes on in a lot of our lives with a lot of things. Like, we're always having to make decisions to go, whether it be family, friends, other work stuff. I mean, it's a dicey game. And when you get that opportunity, of, like, you're almost there, right? Like, if it was a tournament where Hallman was in, like, 38th place in the points and it was Rayburn, you know, yeah, he still needs to fish it, but it's not that big of a deal. This is like, literally, this was going to change his life for the next 2 or 3 years, maybe for the next 10 years, but at least for the next 2 or 3 years, everything came down to that tournament. It's just crazy to me to think that, like, man, you just never know what might happen, right? And I don't know, jury duty, like, if y'all have ever been or any of that stuff, I even went there and I didn't fill out the form that I was supposed to fill out and send it in, because I've been gone, and I just got it like a week ago. Apparently, I guess my wife got it. She's not going to fill it out. It's not hers to even open. And so I got home a couple days ago. I'm like, I'm just going up there. Of course, luckily they didn't care. I say that my buddy didn't fill out his. He happened to be at jury duty. We saw each other, and like the person up there gave him a whole bunch of attitude for not filling it out and sending it back in. Of course, then he went up there and they were fine with him. They got their job to do up there, and they are strict about it, and they don't care what you got going on in your life. But hey, I'm gonna get $6 from them for going up there, and everything got canceled. I'm at home. Maybe I don't get called up for the next couple of years or something. Chances are I probably will. Anyways, I thought I'd share that with y'all. I want to hear what y'all's thoughts are. I want to hear that, like, how many times that y'all have ever ran into a situation where something came up with fishing, right? Where like you had, maybe it was a tournament, maybe you had a trip plan that you'd been planning on for years, whatever it might be, and someone kind of blew it off. Someone kind of blew it off as, man, it's just fishing, right? It's just like seriously, like that's important. Like, they don't see the importance of it. And man, I know for most of y'all, I assume most of y'all that are even watching this video, man, y'all look at it like me. Like, fishing takes high priority in your life, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't say it's the highest, right? But it's up there. It's up there. And if you're like me, you plan around I look at the weather, I look at everything and go, like, I think about hurricane seasons of like, man, like a lot of people are like looking at what a hurricane's going to do, and I'm sitting here going, God, it's going to raise these lakes, right? I mean, or a drought's coming through, or a cold front, or like, I'm sure you're like me, that so many things that other people are worried about, and you like, how's this going to affect my lake when I go to it in a month, right? It's hard for us not to, right? I say we're those people. Am I the only one? Let me know if I'm the only one that thinks like this. There's no way I can be. If so, I'm just over here all worried about myself, and no one else is like that. There's no way I'm the only one, right? Let me know.